Hi everyone, welcome back. So today we're going to be doing phase 2 of the garden project. So I'm going to be going over how it was built and what materials you're going to be needing, as well as a seeding update as well, how we're doing on our plants that we're going to be planting in this raised bed. So we're doing a 4x8 raised bed. It's since we did have to dig some trenches for some of the wood, it's maybe about 11 inches off the ground. But obviously, first thing first, you will need a shovel. Absolutely necessary for digging the holes. Right back in there. You will be needing a T-square. Absolutely get a 24-inch T-square. This is just to make sure that your that your wood is actually going in a straight line. Absolutely necessary to get a 24-inch. If it's a little bit shorter, it's going to change your perception of what's straight. You can also have a leveler. Our ground here is very slanted, so really this was kind of useless no matter what. The bed is going to be a little bit of an angle and a slope, but we try to make it as straight as possible. You will be needing poultry netting or hardware cloth. Also, you can get this at Lowe's. I got this at Osh, I believe. Maybe about 20 bucks for this entire roll. But basically, this is going to be to stamp out any weed growth in the bed, and we'll show that process in the next segment. And now the wood that we got this from Lowe's as well. This was, I believe, just Douglas fir. It's 12 inches across, 8 feet in length, about 2 inches, but not really. Boards are not that exact. But basically, you'll be needing 3 of these and have them cut one in half. So one is essentially just, or 2 or 4 feet length. You will be needing posts as well, 4x4, and then it was basically 8 feet in length. I saw it myself in 4 bits and everything, and you'll see those as well here on the bed. I'll actually show one up and close right here. So this we dug in about a good 6 or 7 inches into the ground, so there's maybe about 18 inches showing or so. Again, I did saw this myself. I did the best measurements I could with the saw. So we've already screwed this in. We kind of have the foundation all set. The ground is nice and compacted, so this is nice and sturdy. So you want to make sure you have a solid base. I mean, really, as long as it stands upright, you're good to go, as long as you have these nice and sturdy. So in the next segment, we're going to be showing how to lay the actual hardware cloth and how to stamp out any weeds and why you're going to be doing this, as well as showing you some of the soil that I got and why it's so important to get this particular type.
All right, so this is 1 week into the seeding process. As you can see, we have a lot of good growth for a lot of these crops, some more than others. The corn has grown exponentially. 6 out of the 7 pods are sprouting. These will have to be transplanted within the next 1 or 2 days. They do say transplant when they reach about 3 inches in height, and the first 2 are definitely almost there. Marigolds are still doing well, as with the cucumbers, they're starting out strong right now. Radishes, these actually started germinating within the first couple days, but they've been doing strong as well. As you can see, a couple are double planted in each cell. You want to wait until one of them or both of them have about 3 or 4 established leaves. Then you pluck the weaker of the 2 out so they're not competing for nutrients. Moving over, we can see the dill has started to sprout. The onions, although they're really small, you may not be able to see them. Those are starting to sprout out very nicely as well. And as you can see, multiple onions per cell, so we'll have to pluck those out. Basil doing well. Tomato, we have a couple strong tomato leaves coming in. Now the big mystery is still with the eggplant. That has not started germinating whatsoever, and it's been 7 whole days. So I'm curious whether they were just bad seeds, or maybe it was just the wrong conditions. They do like warmer soils. However, same with corn and tomato, but those planted very quickly. Lettuce is also a slow germinator. Can take even more than a week, but we did get 1 sprout, but that hasn't really grown much since it started sprouting. Again, radish is still doing well. We will have to be transplanting these soon. And really quick, I want to show you the corn. As you can see, really good root development. It is going to be a difficulty transplanting these. We will have to be very careful not to damage the roots, but it looks to me to be a fairly resilient crop, so it should be okay after the transplanting, and that will be a later video.
So we have the raised bed completely finished. Everything's secure and tight. We filled in all the excess gaps in the trenches with the excess soil. So now we're laying down the hardware cloth and eventually the cardboard. Again, this is to suppress weeds, any weed growth. as well as keep any ground squirrels or gophers away from your raised bed. We have a lot of ground squirrels here in our backyard, so it's very important that we suppress that. So as you can see, we kind of had to cut a little bit. You will need proper metal cutting shears for this, absolutely. Don't do this with regular scissors. As you can see, we have a couple gaps that will lay out the rest of the chicken netting out here. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. This is, again, just to create a barrier. The gophers or ground squirrels, when they come up, they'll face the metal and they'll just immediately turn back. They'll bite into it and it will be no good. Fix that up. And we have a couple excess pieces here. Again, why you need proper shears for those. Cover up all the extra gaps. Alright, so the chicken wire and the hardwood cloth is laid down. Again, you can kind of see right here, it's up flush against the ground. If it does build up or mound or anything like that, don't worry. When we place the cardboard on the soil on top of that, it'll definitely weigh everything down. Again, the hardwood cloth is to suppress any gophers or anything like that, or ground squirrels, and the cardboard is to also suppress weed growth. This will block out any sun potentially getting to the weeds underground. Don't want weed growth in your garden. It can inhibit your plant's growth. It can, form diseases as well. So we want to make sure that every last bit, every last square foot is covered with cardboard or paper bags or anything. That will also decompose naturally, which is a good thing. But yeah, definitely want to suppress any extra light right here, you guys. Alright, so the cardboard's all been laid out on the 4x8 bed, no visible grass to be seen. So with that all set, then we're going to add our soil to this. So I got Kellogg Organic Raised Bed Potting Mix. This is really good soil for your plants. Normally for a 4x8 bed you would need 6 of these, but I'm actually going to be working in about a good 2 cubic feet of my parents' soil to begin with. It's a heavy clay soil. This project is definitely more of an experiment than anything. If I can revitalize the soil, then that's also good for me. So yeah, this will make up the majority of the soil mix. Now in terms of ingredients for this, just to give a brief overview, I know you won't be able to see it on the camera, but it's very high in nitrogen, has a bunch of bat guano, chicken feces as well, dehydrated forest material as well, and just natural compost. So this will be a good start for your plants. Now, once this and my parents' other soil has been worked in together, we're going to add this on top. This is also Kellogg brand, but this is a Patio Plus mixture. This has a little bit more of a mulch and kind of decomposed forest material, so it's a little bit more of a topsoil layer for your plants, but still good for vegetables and flowers. So this will kind of make up the top 2 or 3 inches of soil in our bed. So we're going to start adding this, and then we'll see the next segment. Okay, so we're about 3/4 of the way filled here with the soil mixture here. This was the big 3 cubic feet bag of the raised bed potting mix. We obviously still have the Patio Plus, as you can see why that is necessary. This is only about 8 inches filled, and we got about 10 to 11 inches to fill. So we're going to be filling this up and show you the finished product. Alright, so the garden bed is completely finished now. Again, 4x8 garden bed. We used all the soil that we showed in the previous segment. As you can see, still a little bit of distance and everything. Be prepared to have to buy another 1.5 cubic foot bag of the top potting soil. As we water this, you do want to keep this moist if you're not going to be planting into it immediately. So we're going to be watering this as well, watering this bed. But you may notice that as that settles, the soil depth decreases. So you may have to just add another little top layer, get another 1.5 inches depth added to that. But this should be all set, and we should be starting to transplant a couple seeds. I'll do as best as I can to make sure I have individual videos for each of those. But we should be planting corn first, then some cucumbers, then some tomatoes as well. We also bought a little strawberry plant as well, see how we do with strawberries. But yeah, exciting project. It's kind of the beginning of it now, so we're going to see how this turns out, but we'll be keeping you guys updated. So be sure to like, subscribe, comment. Please let me know if any other advice or any criticism you feel like is necessary. Totally fine. But hopefully we have another video about this in a week with an update. All the transplants should be in by that point. All right, you guys. Bye.